Today's episode of That Is Effin' Weird, we have a special guest on the show. We've actually, or me, myself, we sent out a newsletter. So all the audience, you, the members, so you're aware of this. We've been asking for some interviewees, and we got a huge laundry list of people that wanted to come onto the show. And Gary here, our guest, was the first one that I noticed when I opened up this newsletter. Before we get into all of that, we'll introduce the host, and then we'll bring it over to Gary. So I'm one of your hosts, Alex,
and I'm Seth.
And Gary's on the show with us. I'm not gonna say what the show, what it's all about, because I'm gonna let Gary do that piece. Gary, why did you come onto the show today?
To promote the lifestyle and philosophy of the Dude, or as we like to call it, Dudeism. I belong to the Church of the Latter-day Dude. I'm the shipping dude, and I help handle all the ordinations for the guy who created it back in 2005, Mr. Oliver Benjamin.
Thank you, Gary, for coming on to the show. We have, like I said, we have a lot of questions to ask you. First off, when we sent off this newsletter and asking people to come on to the show, specifically, you had said that you wanted to help promote the Dudeism and everything. So is that, I've been very curious, is this a legit thought, like religion, and something that you practice?
Yes, and it depends on your definition of religion exactly, but we can argue that we are a religion even though we have no metaphysics or deities. We're a non-theistic, non-metaphysical, philosophical society. If you feel you need a god to be a religion, then that's what we are. But if you consider Buddhism or Taoism religions, or Confucianism, then we're as much a religion as any of those are. In their uncorrupted first original drafts, before all the magic and weirdness got added to some of them.
Okay. So I apologize. My internet froze like halfway through all of that. Do you mind? I'm sorry. Do you mind explaining that one more time?
Sure. We're a non-theistic, non-metaphysical religion, much in the same way Buddhism, large portion of Buddhism is non-theistic. Taoism is essentially non-theistic in its early uncorrupted first drafts. Or Confucianism. I mean, that would be a religious structure that we're more akin to. But if you're thinking in Western philosophy terms, we're like Epicurean then, in that we're ethical hedonists or humanist, or we're like in the same neighborhood as humanism, but we're not exactly the same. We're basically a mix of, say, Taoist Buddhism, Epicurean humanism, but with beer and weed.
So. All right. Very nice. All right. One of the questions, and like one of the things that you had said in the post when you reached out to us, was that there's over 500,000 members worldwide, and that that you have roughly, I believe it was 800,000 members on your Facebook page.
Yes.
Is that an exact number, or is
no,
there more?
They're small. Yeah, we have there's two types of Dudists too. Well, there's many types, but two ends of the spectrum. There's the engaged Dudist, like me, who's doing all this Dudeism stuff and promoting the religion and such. And then there's like a lifestyle Dudist who just lives as a dude, and they don't get ordained. They don't do much in the community, but they're always there and they're living the dude-tastic life. But yeah, we have way more than that. We're all over the world. I got orders going out to Germany, Australia, UK right here on the desk. And, I got a stack of orders here just from the last couple of days.
Oh my gosh. Nice.
Yeah, no. Our Facebook pages, there's multiples of them. They're very active. I mean, We have
So
the main page that anyone can find, but then there's private communities, and they're in the tens and hundreds of thousands themselves.
are there physical meeting locations like yet
No,
or okay.
no, there's
And
no actual churches. It would seem kind of weird to us to even have that much of a real. It's tough to be in the position I am, because I'm providing structure to Dudeism, which is resistant to any kind of structure in itself.
yeah.
It's an odd yin yang situation. Yeah, we're a church and all this, and we do all this paperwork, but no, that none of that matters at the same time.
Yeah, I don't picture the dude waking up on Sunday morning and going anywhere.
No, but online we do meet, and that's actually like when people perform weddings.
Yeah.
One of the big things that attracts a lot of people to us is they become ordained to do weddings, and so there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Dudeist weddings happening every year now. I performed a couple myself, so
Wow.
Okay.
So in the
That's-
eyes of the government, how do they look at the organization? Are you tax exempt or like,
we don't try for that. That's we're not
Yeah.
doing anything charity like. I mean, we're not Joel Olsen or one of these. We're not into that. We're just, and it's not very. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm making a lot of money over here, and neither is Oliver.
Mhm.
We're just keeping the lights on, keeping it going for everybody
Yeah.
else, and just feeding the monkey as we go.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to play that game. I mean, if an individual dude sets up a Dudeist based, actual charity, I mean, maybe we'd support that, or maybe one of us might get into something like that at some point. But unless it's actually charity, there's no real point.
I gotcha.
We're not trying to scam anyone here, man.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of, or has it ever been brought to your attention that like someone, almost like what Seth was saying, like has there been like meetings like in person where you guys, practice?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, we're also associated with another Lebowski inspired group. We call them Lebowskiists, or Achievers. That they run the Lebowski Fest. It's a whole other community of fans of the movie. They're like movie fans. We're philosophy fans, but
Okay.
we're both based in the same movie. So we get together. I was at one in Louisville a number of years ago, Lebowski Fest, and it's just great time.
Yeah. I think I saw there was a documentary on fans that met up and bowled and did things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that may have included Oliver Benjamin. I managed to stay behind the camera at the events that I've been to. I've only recently decided to let go of my ninja status, so
well, we appreciate it. We're glad to have you on.
yeah.
So essentially what you're saying is that there are like two main groups of this. You have the ones that actually practice the theory and like the actual like practice of Dudeism.
We're Dudeist priests.
Dudeist priests. And then there's another side of it where people who are almost essentially just like fans of the movie, like following that cult classic movie. Like there's two ends. Okay. All right.
But we're not the same group. We're just two groups that happen to. There's more groups associated with this as well. And you have the Zen peacemakers, who were led by Bernie Glassman, who was Jeff Bridges' Zen master, who also at the same time were developing. He wrote. You might have seen the book, The Dude and the Zen Master. I think I just got that wrong, but where Bernie and Jeff got together and wrote a book about Zen goings and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so at the same time that Oliver Benjamin was starting Dudeism, there was a group in the States starting a Lebowski Fest, and a Zen master, one of the first American Zen masters, was locking into the philosophy of the Dude as well. So all three groups, we all kind of coalesced around about 2010, 2015 in that area. We all kind of ran into each other, and it was like,
Wow.
oh, you're into the Big Lebowski? We're into the Big Lebowski. You're into the Dude? I'm into the Dude. What? You think it's religion too? Oh my God. And yeah. I actually hung out and I interviewed Bernie Glassman and Jeff Bridges about it years ago, and
Oh, wow, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
so
that was actually one of my questions that I had for you is does Jeff Bridges know about like all of these
oh yeah,
groups?
yeah.
What is
No,
what,
he knows. Yeah,
what
he thinks it's cool. I mean, I met him at a Zen Peacemakers symposium, so we were there to do this whole Zen and Buddhist philosophical symposium for peace for the world. So got a chance to talk through some things, but yeah, he digs the style.
that's
And
really
it's not
cool.
like we do not worship Jeff Bridges. We think he's a far out cool dude, but our prophets are like, non-profits,
Mhm.
he's a really cool dude, but yeah, he's not a deity or something. Come on now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he was eating a ham sandwich while I was talking to him. So
that seems like Jeff Bridges. I don't know why.
he is who you think he is. He's really a really cool guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and
That
that's
is
good.
awesome.
That's always good that when you meet these people that play these characters and they fit it and it's
Oh
nice to
yeah,
see that.
oh yeah, no, he was cool. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we're not sanctioned, but we're known.
that's good.
It's
That's really
it's
cool.
crazy though. I feel like things try to keep us out of this light. So that's why few people have heard of us. At the same time, millions of people have heard of us. It's weird.
Well, so I was actually gonna say that too, is like until I read what you had sent to me, I honestly had never heard of any of this before. And like I'm not gonna lie, like I was gonna dig deep into it because I like doing research, I like, finding all this. But then I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna let you tell me about it because I love getting information like this as well. Something I should also disclose to you is I have never seen the movie.
Oh no.
And yeah, I have wanted to for the longest time. Like I don't know why I haven't, but
With all the internet memes out there, you're just
well,
missing them.
yeah, they're
You
just
see
going over.
Sam Elliott as a cowboy at a bar, and you're just not getting it, man.
Seth, I will say this though. Seth has seen the movie, so he
Many times.
understands. Yes, so he understands it and everything. But I wanted to come onto the show fresh, not knowing anything about it, just getting your perspective on everything. So, when you say
Yeah,
like Dudeist priest, correct, dude priest.
I love
yeah,
I love
Judas
that
Priest.
I love that pun.
So I
Yeah,
guess
no,
like
it's fun.
what are some of the not rules, but is there like guidelines and things that you live by, and is there like anything kind of written, or is it just a way of
Yeah.
life?
Well, yeah, that's opening up a big can of. There's several books.
Oh,
I've mine.
okay.
I just released last year, and I got like 3 from Oliver, and there's a couple others from other people. So yeah, there's a small library of Dudeist writing right now out
Oh,
there.
wow.
Rules, we don't like rules so much. It's like obscenity, you know it when you see it, sort of thing. But we
Mm,
have suggestions, and as Dudists, we're pacifists, but that's still nothing to hide behind. So,
yeah.
you know, life is complicated. We understand that. I liken it to just a pure ethical hedonist philosophy,
Yeah.
where whatever benefits the greatest number of beings and allows their flourishing while not needlessly harming any.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
yeah.
need to harm things, and that's rough and sad, but if it's for the greater good, but it has to be needed. You can't just say, well, we'd all be better. We'd all have like 13 more cents if we just killed off these people. Well, that's not, that doesn't balance out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We're talking about, guys who want to set off nuclear weapons. Maybe we need to put that guy down. But,
Yeah.
if you're just chilling, we should all that. And we're also not into the whole materialism thing. We think
Yeah.
that the rat race is part of the problem with this world. where everybody's fighting for it.
100%. Yeah.
You know, materialism, but at the same time, you can't expect to live with no money and walk around naked and survive in any kind of world ever. So you have to feed the monkey. And
Well, something that I've always thought about is just like how far, like as like society wise and just like as a human race, how far we could go if that were the case, where everyone thought, where it's like, hey, I don't need another computer, I don't need another cell phone, the one I work is just fine, like I don't need all this stuff. Like how much further we could progress just like as a human race. And almost like what you were saying too, with like the whole like nuclear bomb thing, where it's like, well, we don't necessarily need those. Like if no one was out to harm each other, how far we could actually go. So I don't know, the world, it sucks that the world isn't that way. And
Are you saying you disagree with the threat of mutually assured destruction? Like, come on, that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, I understand the thinking. It's just unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate. I agree with you.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of unfortunate things in our world, and yeah, we figure if people just focused a little more on having a good time and enjoying life instead of accumulating wealth for wealth's sake, or if they thought a little more ethically about their choices and what harm or good they might do, then yeah, we could eventually get to that world that resembles Star Trek. That's what I mean. I feel that Dudeism is the perfect religion to bring forward into the future, into a Star Trek future, or maybe if you're into it, a more Orville kind of future, where with the beer and the weed, because yes, celebration, abiding, all these things. We should be celebrating. We should be having a good time. We should be as close to the bonobos, lakeside, eating fruit and having an orgy. That's the ideal life. I mean, those little monkeys are having the best experience of life possible on this planet, and we're over here throwing stones at each other in the Baltics, and it's just not cool.
Yeah.
There's a couple things. First up, there's not many things. I don't want to, like, I guess you call it organization or just people coming together and organizing. There's very few things around that are like that don't really that don't have like a credo or like some kind of a constitution or list of rules. And so I kind of like what you're doing because it's like experimental in a way, but it's also like, okay, so back, like way back in in Europe, before we kind of kept going west, it seems like people in the past were more like they before all the 9 to 5 stuff and the way we kind of distributed labor, it was more like people worked, farmed, agriculture and animals and all of this stuff, and then once they did that and were done with the season, they just kicked back and enjoyed the fruits of their labor and just like chilled until it was like the working season again, just to make sure everything ran and you were fed, and we got into this kind of other side of things. And it's fascinating because I've been watching like Narcos lately, and I'm watching like Pablo Escobar. Like, he's already making like $60 million a day, and he's running around just like executing everybody, including people.
It's like, how much more do you need?
Yeah, it gets
you
to
can't
that
even
point.
spend that.
Yeah, it's like a strange flaw.
And is he happy? No, he's fucking miserable.
Absolutely. Yeah. It gets to where it's like there's a human flaw where we accumulate and make sure we have all these safety nets, but it keeps going, and we call it greed, but I feel like there should be a different word, because we're all kind of susceptible to that if we don't watch ourselves, like just to constantly
we're trying to fill our purpose with a lower rung of the pyramid of needs.
Yeah.
Instead of going for the self-actualization. Once you trying to achieve enlightenment in the Zen or even Dudeist sense is about knowing yourself. And once you do that, you can function without needing $60 million a year and murdering people.
Yeah.
There's a spot way down where you can kind of go, well, I got a good job, I got a comfortable place to live. That's enough. Let me go find my friends and we'll buy a case of beer and have a good time.
See, that what you were just mentioning about like working on the self and like having other goals and aspirations. Like I know a bunch of old business guys around me in just my personal life. And what's really interesting is like watching them when they hit retirement age and beyond, they really don't know what to do with themselves. Like they're constantly thinking of more just business ideas or revenue streams, and it's like they're antsy, and they've built all these things for themselves, and you go to their places and it's like, wow, this is it's like the place that the other Lebowski, his house,
Yeah,
and
the
the
big
pool and
Lebowski.
everything. Yeah, and so it's like, but they're not like sitting there soaking that in, enjoying it. They're like
Right.
thinking of the next thing, and I don't want to get like that
It's
when
like
I'm older.
You already got all the good stuff. What are you doing, man?
I know, I
Relax.
don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a certain comfort level. The happiest people are Buddhist monks, and they're walking around owning nothing but a bathrobe.
Yeah,
But that's their comfort level. We can't all be monks.
Right.
I suppose probably we could, but it wouldn't be quite the same. But so everybody has a certain comfort level. I mean, and you're not evil if you went out, did something good, good work that enriched people, and somehow you turn around and you get a big fat bank account, like say it's Jeff Bridges or somebody like that. That's not evil. I mean, but then what does he do with it? He likes to spread it around and entertain people and help out, and he helps word charities, and he's always volunteering. So, and he makes people happy. So, I mean, that's fine. That's not the materialism we're talking about. It's like as if he forgot to be the cool Jeff Bridges and just tried to fill that bank account.
Right.
But then again, personally, my personal politics, I would be like, yeah, we need a universal basic income. Capitalism should be a voluntary sport, not like, oh, you want to start a business and make cool new furniture? Go for it. You engage in capitalism. Maybe you'll make it. All right, cool.
I love this. I love this because there's so many avenues to go to, because for one, I don't like the idea of anyone telling me what to do. So it's but I do like the self appointed like charity or things like that. But at the same time, that's not the majority of human nature. So when you go more like onto a different type of societal style, where there's more of a communistic approach, you have like forced spreading of sharing and charitable things, and I don't like that either. I don't like either, but I like
it's a middle ground somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It's almost like we've got to get, like, the individual has to get to the kind of the point you're talking about, to where it's honestly it's a more enlightened state of living, and self-awareness.
We need less poverty and slightly less wealth. We have a safety net, and nets suck. They're full of holes, and sometimes they rip, and things go through them all the damn time. We need an iron floor. Below this level, you fall not. You can't end up homeless. You can't end up without medical care. You can't. It's impossible. We have an iron floor. You will not go down any further below this. When you start getting up, okay, now we need to, you're getting too much money. We're going to put it back, because when wealth is like held and concentrated, that's the same thing as like, that's like cancer in your body. Imagine, okay, humanity is one body. You're a toenail. He's part of a heart, and they're the lungs. Imagine if the heart said, well, I'm the most important. I'm keeping all the blood.
Yeah.
Now the brain's starving. Now the brain's losing. You're cutting down your intelligence. The brain's starving. It's not getting the blood it needs. The legs are dying. You're getting the feet are just gone. They're dead. They're suffering. All because the heart said, well, I'm more important. So I'm keeping all the money and blood are the same thing. They need to flow.
Yeah,
It
we need
needs
more
to flow
like
around.
homeostasis in society. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Roy Rogers. Was it Roy Rogers? It said, if you give money to the poor guy in the morning, the rich guy will get it by the evening, but at least it will pass through the poor man's hands first. The rich have just started saying, screw it, we'll just take the money instead of letting it go through our hands first. Where's the bread in circuses? We're not getting our bread in circuses.
Yeah.
And we can live with a lot of stuff if our lives don't suck and if we have a chance to enjoy our lives. Okay, fine. You can be rich. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think there's two issues just with like not with what you're saying, but just like with humans that I think until we evolve or get past this point, it's just going to be it's going to be like this where everybody is different, and there is that greed within humans that once they get something, they don't maybe want to let it go. And then there's also that piece where it's like there are some people who are born into a society or a class. We've talked about that on this show before, where it's like if you're born into something, let's just say on the wealthy end of the scale, and all you know is people waiting on you flying in private jets, that's what you're used to. That's your norm.
And the worst part is you start to feel you deserve it.
That too.
That's the flaw in the human. That's the flaw in it. It's how do you turn a person into an asshole? You give them a whole lot of money, and after a short time, they feel like they deserved it, and you don't.
Yep.
And the problem is we spent 250,000 years evolving to survive the Stone Age, and all of a sudden we only had 2,000 or 3,000 years to get ready for the Information Age, and we're just Stone Age creatures running around with computers, and that's not a really good combination.
Well, that's something that we have talked about before on the show too, is like how fast technology moves and how dangerous that can be, and how it just like, I think I've told Seth, I don't know, it was maybe like 2 episodes ago that we recorded where it was like, we just need to slow down. Like we need to just be happy with where we're at, learn from it. And like,
we got nuclear weapons too early.
Yeah, we got a lot too early. Internet is a dying thing now too.
Well, yeah, we'll think about that. Let's talk about the internet for a second. How it, like, if you think back in the 90s, how it was just like, oh, the World Wide Web. You can watch interviews with newscasters who are just like, what is the internet? And they're trying to figure out what the internet is, and it's kind of funny in a sense because of like knowing what it is now. But yeah, it's crazy.
I'm concerned about AI's impact on it.
We were just talking about that last night.
I mean, it's going to get to the point where you just literally it answers a question for me though. Why in Star Wars? And obviously, this is that's fiction and all that. But when you're looking at it, you're like, why don't they have all this wonderful technology that we have, the internet and all this? What if you can't trust anything you see on the internet? Because it could be a deep fake, it could be AI tricking you, it could be every single thing is untrustworthy. You would start to live more like they do in Andor. Smaller technology, you would rely less on what we use the internet for today. But and you would have much more personal connections with people. It would all because you can literally see them. And you would probably hate robots too, just like they do. So
Alex sent a meme not too long ago that was like thousands of years ago, man created AI. AI became self-aware and started destroying humanity, and then there was a coronal mass ejection from the sun that wiped out all the AI, and then humans started worshiping the sun, and then it slowly went back, and now we're here.
Right.
It's just repeating itself.
Oh yeah, no, that's crazy. Well, I mean, that's the other thing is Dudeism is an absurdist philosophy. I don't know if you're familiar with Albert Camus.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay. He's shortly after World War II became famous as an absurdist philosopher. You take existentialism to the next step and go, wait, this is all wonky. This is all impossible to understand. So what are you going to do about it? I mean, you get like three choices. You gotta commit philosophical suicide, which basically says, okay, adopt whatever philosophy will make you feel good, whatever religion or anything. Just accept it. Don't think anymore. Because if you think about it, the world is fucked up. Just being here shouldn't be. So that's absurd. Existence itself is absurd. So you get that choice, or you could kill yourself because life has no meaning, no purpose. Fuck it, I'm out. So you could either commit philosophical or physical suicide,
It's
or you can embrace the absurdity of it all and a little existential rigging of your own reason to be alive and go with it. I mean,
it's like
Monty
the two ends of
Python
the
is
spectrum.
yeah, Monty Python is absurdist comedy. When you
Yeah.
watch Monty Python, that's what they're going through. They're kind of honoring Albert Camus and just going with it. That okay, well, it's all shit, so we're gonna do this. Or the song "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life." Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. So yeah, we're absurdist, and Dudeism is absurd. I mean, why you have a religion based on the dude? Well, what else you gonna do?
Well, that's the thing. Like you could go down on the two ends of the spectrum and go more the Dudist route, or you could go down to nihilism, which I hear is exhausting.
He got it. He got it in there. You took it from me. You took it from me. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's it. I mean, there's only nihilism, theism, or absurdism, and we're absurdist. We're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you what the meaning of life is, but we're going to offer some suggestions how to live a life. Right?
I really,
Life could be fun.
I really like that. I really do, and I think if more people were to adopt that, and like I think, so what is it? I was talking with my wife a few days ago, or I always have these conversations with her. She's very religious in the sense with like Jesus Christ, like she's Baptist, so it's like verbatim whatever the Bible says, that is what she believes. And like we have these really good conversations, and it's um shit, where was I going with this? It's
Lost his train of thought.
yeah, it was, what was I gonna say? It was it was, so it's the fact that she believes everything that the Bible says and everything like that, and it's one of these things where it's, where the fuck was I going with this? I apologize. I
Well,
had
that's
it,
okay.
and then it went away.
We'll snip this part together once you get your bearings.
Yeah, I can't remember, what was it?
We were talking about Dudism, then the other spectrum, nihilism, and then all of these, and then you and your wife having conversations about basically theology.
I know, and I can't remember where I was going with it. Fuck, you know what? We'll scrap this piece, and we'll just go on to the next.
Yeah.
So for you, Gary, what makes this group and what makes being a part of this so special for you? Like what parts of it are like, why is this, I guess, what you find to be right for you?
Well, I mean, the simple, shallowest answer is I like beer and philosophy. So they got together. But yeah, no, I spent a fair amount of time trying to answer the big questions in life. I always was interested in philosophy as a young man, a troubled young youth. I ended up in a war zone at Desert Storm, trying to think about, okay, this is a lot of religiosity in this zone. I'm in Saudi Arabia. I'm a Christian living with Muslims, and and then there's all this discussion we'd have in the tents. So that's when I started to really question my faith at the time, and I just kept trying to prove things to myself and going, wait, I can't prove that. That's not provable. Okay, move on. And my faith receded further and further. So then I was like, okay, well, now what? And I thought I discovered something philosophical. Turns out I just rethought up nihilism. And so then I was sitting there as a nihilist, going, well, this ain't right either. So I started to try and find something that would make sense, that doesn't break the laws of physics, doesn't go against human nature. And so I just kept searching and searching, and I touched for 5 minutes on Jediism. I'm like, okay, but then they were too weird, and I'm like, okay, all right, no, you guys are just a little too far. And then I just stumbled on the dude thing, and I'm like, really? Huh? And so you got nothing to say about the afterlife? No, we don't know, man. I don't know. What happens after you die? I don't know. Okay, cool. So what's it all about? I don't know. Have a joint. Let's talk about it. Okay. So
it
I
was
started
like
talking
the honesty that attracted you.
Yeah, it's very straight up honest. And it's not, I wouldn't say Dudeism is atheistic. We're
Yeah.
non-theistic, which is different. We're not saying there is no God. If you ask me, is there or isn't there any God or gods? I'm like, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like it. I mean, I can't find a place where I can prove that that's a God or just natural happenings. I mean,
Okay.
maybe there are. I mean, maybe this infinite universe, some part of it as a whole, deity setup, just like, in Dungeons and Dragons, and they got like, liches and stuff, somewhere way out there where we can't even see. Or what if, gods are just, another type of being that has a more access to quantum mechanics, and we confuse them, but they're still subject to their own laws of some strange physics, So I don't know. But so you could be a Christian Dudeist, a Muslim Dudeist, a Buddhist Dudeist. We do have them. People do commingle Dudeism because it's more of a practice,
Yeah.
I practice the lifestyle of the dude. I'm also promote the philosophy of the dude as a religion, in the sense that human beings are already attuned to having religion for the sense of community and shared values. You share some rituals, you share some holidays, you share values, and you share that with a large community. And that's what Dudeism really provides for a lot of people. It's our community that really makes it. Once you start falling in with the other groups, on Facebook or something, the support they offer each other. I mean, I'll hang out with Dudists all day, every day. They're all kind, generous, and real, So, yeah, I love the community. So that's why it's really important to me to grow that community. Now, do I think we could get the whole world to be Dudists? No, we don't need the whole world to be Dudists. We only need about a certain percentage to balance out. We're the beach bums that everybody was going to get wisdom from. We're just kind of making it more like, well, he used to be a lone beach bum, but now he's a Dudeist priest. So he has the support of the Church of Dudeism when he wants to perform a wedding, or, he can point to some books, But
Yeah.
the world needs that beach bum who just spends time studying life and sharing his observations with the busy people who are trying to run through this rat race.
I really like
That's our
that.
thing.
I really like that. I feel like in a nutshell, you just broke everything down and like into one perfect little like bubble right there. That's perfect. And actually, I want to thank you too, because that actually started the gears moving. I remember what I was gonna say and everything. So we're not gonna cut that
Okay.
last piece out because now
Okay.
it flows. So like, yes, having conversations with my wife, and just we talk about religion and just how seeing stuff like how most religions, it is a good versus evil type thing. Like if you look at most stories in just like different religions, there's those aspects of it. And I think something that's really cool about like the Dudeism is the fact that it's more of like that philosophy thinking, where it's you don't know if there is a higher being or not. There could be. You're not saying that there isn't, but
Yeah.
it's a way of life. And I think I almost like that more in a sense, because like almost like what you're saying too, is like you do have morals, you do have values, you do have, there's that community. And I think that's one of the biggest things, like the biggest attractions of like religion and like church is like on those Sundays, everyone comes together, you know, they sing, they learn, like they get a story, and then maybe afterwards there's those potlucks and
Yeah.
everything. So, but there's,
I mean,
it seems like there's no difference with the Dudeism. It seems like that is what happens.
yeah, essentially, it's just we're so far spread out. I mean, yeah, we got about 1 million dudists, but there or more. You know, we got. I think it was like 700,000 ordained dudists the last time I looked at the
Whoa.
numbers.
Wow.
But we're spread out all the way around the globe. So, I mean, right now the only place I'm not seeing orders from is Russia. And so, I mean, I just got one from China. They're very slow a couple of months ago, but I haven't seen an order from Russia in 3 years.
I'm
So
surprised
that's,
anything
I know
gets
that's
past
a
their
very closed society.
yeah,
Mhm.
their firewall that not much
Yeah.
things don't get in and out the same.
But other
Almost-
than that, everywhere. It's crazy. Nigeria. I mean, you name it.
Wow, that is crazy. I see. I've heard like little things here and there, but I did not understand the scope of Dudeism until now. Like,
And as society gets more secular, we're stationed to take on more of the, like, particularly the wedding officiant role,
Yeah.
role, because I mean that's why I wrote my book. Originally, I started as like oh geez, all these dudes are asking how to do weddings. Well, let me look it up and put together a thing. Then I'm like, well, now I got this like 12-page document. I mean, I should do something with it. I could wrap it in a whole lot more pages, so I had to write a whole book to wrap it in. But yeah, so that's why my book started was it's the incomplete dude. Here, let me grab it for a second. The Incomplete Dudeist Priest Handbook.
That's awesome.
I put down my whole philosophy of Dudeism and like a whole bunch of stuff, and then some life skill stuff. You never know when you're going to need to clean a pee stain out of your rug, or let's see, or dig a latrine, or avoiding and surviving a bear encounter. This is my favorite section. It took me the longest to write. I wrote a
That is
whole thing about how to
awesome.
survive. Yeah. And lastly, finding a D&D game, which is my bowling. My personal form of bowling is Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, is that book available online for like purchase, or do you send it to
Yeah,
anyone who just wants a copy, or?
It's in Amazon. It's on
Oh,
Amazon.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
If you can actually, I'll look for it, and I'm gonna put it in the description of the show. And like you as the audience members, if you want to check it out, I'm definitely gonna. I'm gonna look into it.
I hope it helps people in a way, like a little philosophy, a little fun, and like if you are gonna do any Buddhist ceremonies, I covered everything. I tried,
Mhm. That's really
to
cool.
prepare people because they're spreading out. We're putting out our first baptism certificate for sale in like the next few days because
Wow.
someone asked for one.
Really?
Yeah, so
That's really cool. Now,
we
as
get
far
to
as like,
fulfill all the priestly duties without the celibacy or hiding our drinking. I mean, it's great.
when kind of getting back to like the like how every like this is like touching like every corner of the earth. How is like the recruiting, and like is that something that like you guys openly try to do, or is that just like people somehow find you and that's how people join?
Yeah, people find us word of mouth. I mean, we do not proselytize.
Okay.
We're not out trying to convert people. We do advertise. Proselytize and advertise aren't exactly the same thing. You go, hey, I got candy, versus, hey, eat this freaking candy. So we're over here. Hey, we got weed and beer or philosophy if you want it. Up to you.
The dude is not dogmatic.
No, there, we don't have rules, but it's similar to a bowling lane. There are gutters and there are pins. You're trying to hit you're trying to make it all the way to the pins and end with a big old strike, like woohoo! without falling off into the gutters. So, we don't say you can't do this or that, but if you do that, you might fall into the gutter. You get that, right? You might be out of the lane. You're going to be screwed. So there are things you're living for, and there are things to avoid, but straight hard rules about what those are difficult. You can't say you can never do that because you might need to at some point. So who knows?
Yeah.
Are the Coen brothers aware of all this?
Yeah, they don't comment at all.
Yeah.
Really?
And we don't bother them. And I put in my book, whether by design or happenstance, they wrote this movie that transformed everything. And we thank them, but we're not going to bug them about it. Like, oh, Joel, Ethan, tell us. Not going to happen. Like, man, that really woke up an idea, because it's not really about the movie or Jeff or any of that. It's about what they reminded us of. It's an ancient philosophy, 2,500 years old. Epicurus and Lao Tzu and Confucius and all these guys were out there already doing it. You could even take the big JC guy, and if you look at Jesus through a non-theistic lens, he was a pretty cool hippie. So we'd be like driving with a lot of the shit he said on the mount and all that. I mean, so we're very much not against other people or their religions. I made a whole video that we're not out here to mock anyone's religion or poke fun of it. We're not the flying spaghetti monster. We're not the sub-genius. We're an old ancient philosophy repackaged for the modern age, and with a lot of fun and some good ethical hedonism to enjoy.
Yeah.
What is, like, when people, like, I don't know if like anyone has asked you, or like when you tell people that like this is what you believe and everything like that, do you ever get any like weird looks, or is anyone ever like scratching their head or anything like that? Or like when you explain it to
a little
them,
bit.
are they a little bit?
Yeah, sometimes most people get it. Especially, if I'm running into you in a social situation, you're probably in the same kind of zone as me. So you jive. Like, my wife works for some, liberal elite college, and I get to hang out with professors every once in a while, and they don't stray too far from where I'm at anyways, or I don't stray too far from where they're at. I don't know how you want to put it, but so I go, it's this, and this. It's an ethical hedonistic absurdism, and they're, oh, it's based on the dude. Cool. That's a lot of what I get is, it's based on the dude. I love the dude. Who doesn't love the fucking dude? I mean, and if you don't, that's a big red flag. You don't like the dude from Jeff Bridges from the, oh my. Is your hero the Big Lebowski or the sheriff from Malibu? This is Malibu sheriff guy. You gotta watch out for, man. He
came to mind, yeah. When was the first time you saw the movie? Was it already out a little while, or did you see it in theaters?
No, I saw it on videotape, like when it first came out in Blockbuster way back in the day. And I was sitting there, I'm like, were they following me around? I mean, for one thing, you probably didn't notice the hair. And
far out.
I literally had crashed my car into a dumpster at least twice at the time. Trying
Alex
to put out a burning roach in my lap was like something I would do. My wifey was even looking at me like, looking back and forth at the way he was behaving and me, and I'm like, I didn't do it.
I gotta watch the movie. After this, I told my wife we're gonna watch the movie, so I will get everything that you guys are saying.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great movie. I mean, most people watch it like 5-6 times just because you keep finding things. There's little gems. Hit the Coen brothers. I mean, even if you're just a movie fan, the Coen brothers really put something interesting together, and the whole premise. I'm trying to catch. I'd like to get into fiction right now, and I'm trying to capture that big little adventure. It's just a itty bitty adventure he goes on, but it feels so big. But it's really, when you think about it, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's almost like a modern Greek. Yeah.
It's like, it's not Romeo and Juliet. It's like the first 5 minutes of Romeo and Juliet, and it's over. Okay, that's it. We had, they met at a party. It's over. Go home. So yeah,
The
interesting.
it's I think for me, The Big Lebowski and The Shining are two films that I can watch over and over and over and over, and for some reason I don't get tired of them. The replay value is very much there.
Yeah, you'd figure I've seen it like a dozen times in one sitting at a festival, and here I am flipping through channels, and I'll still stop on and go, "Oh, okay, cool." Light a joint. Well, I'm like, why am I watching this again? I know all the words. I don't know. I mean, get me a beer.
I feel like the quest for the rug. There's so many things you can tie and associate with it. It really is like a modern like Greek epic or something, guised in like California in the early 90s.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, people analyze and dissect that movie so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you got books being written and they never even heard of Dudeism, but they're writing books like, "Oh, how Lebowski changed my life." Like, we're over here. Hello. Really? I mean, I just read an article in Screen Rant and they're talking about how the dude abides. I'm like, you could have just asked us. I mean, we got a whole freaking book about abiding. We got a whole abide guide. Come on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Gary, I guess for our audience members, I think some of them are probably chomping at the bit to know this piece. How do you become a member? Because I think you even mentioned that, like, you got the stacks of paper behind you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just find dudeism.com. DUDEISM.com. And that'll take you to our main site. Or you could even just Google anything associated. Google Dudeism. You'll find, like, you know, YouTube channels and Facebook pages, Reddit, whatever, our Dudeism. You know, you'll find stuff on Discord. There's dudists everywhere. I can't keep track of them anymore. There's so many of them. I pop in every once in a while and but I only get like about, a couple of days before someone goes, "Hey, wait, is this Gary?" And I'm like, "Yes. Hi, how you doing?" Because I'm like the shipping dude. If you ever write to Dudeism, I've written to you. I got, people tag me on Facebook when they need like the rules lawyer for how to order or, weddings or something like that. They're like, "Oh, Gary knows." So I'm like, it's very weird to walk into a Facebook room or something and everybody knows your name and you've never met any of them. I'm like,
well,
who are you
that's
people?
that's a that's a good thing. That must be a good feeling though, that like everyone, looking for you for that guidance in a sense where it's like,
yeah, but I'm
looking at you. So. I know, in a weird, I know it's a weird kind of like thing where it's like you're trying to live by like, there is no like leader, there is no like that structure, but people are looking to you for that guidance and as like that like quote unquote leader, as a Buddhist. So
yeah, it's a little weird. A whole lot of trying to hold, it's yin and yang. You got to be able to hold yes and no in the same hand, and just be okay with it. That's life, though.
I love how the dude is so checked out to where rent is completely not on his mind, but he has the presence to go to his landlord's weird performance art piece.
Right. Very supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it just melds perfectly with everything we've been talking about.
Oh, money, right? I got to deal with that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but you're having a party? I'll be there. Oh, right, money. That thing.
Well, Seth, did you have any other questions before we wrap up?
I mean, that pretty much covers it. He said what I'm definitely gonna look all of this up now. No, I mean everything that you said, it pretty much covered what I had. I mean, I could talk about the movie all day, but
Right. Well, yeah, we got a couple 100,000 people to join with you. They could just go with it. And we even have Waltarians. There's one last little edge to this whole thing. Waltarians. They think they're Dudists. They want to be Dudists, but they're actually more like Walter in the movie.
Oh, whoa.
They're your libertarian types.
Yeah.
Because there's a libertarian element to Dudeism, so it attracts them. But they have Walter's aggressive nature. We love them. They're our Walters, and they come by. But that we've actually created spaces for them. Like I helped create Dudeocracy and the Dudeist Lounge, which are because you go to Dudeism, most of the main pages they're highly moderated because we get a lot of crazy people show up every once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk politics, we got Dudeocracy. It's a free for all. It's a boxing ring. Hop
so
on
it's
in.
like they're like a satellite of you almost.
Yeah.
So they are they just way more black and white, like about.
They end up more about like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a whole place where everybody can yell and scream at each other about stuff, but it still has that Dudeist element. Like, you're a fucking asshole. I love you, but you're a fucking asshole. All right, let's go. And that's how we deal with shit. Okay, yeah, you're being a fucking asshole, but I still love you. Whatever.
See, like if that's how the whole world was, that would be perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, we got them, and then the Dudeism Lounge, where people who have less than their sense of humor is less than has less decorum. We can let them go there. All the vagina jokes. Jesus, if I see another fucking vagina joke, okay. I mean, that's literally. I used to be one of the moderators. I still am technically, but I gave up that work for a while because if I see one more vagina joke, oh my god. We got people just clicking delete on these things all day sometimes.
Penis, Johnson, or Rod.
Yeah, Johnson. Yeah, oh god, not another one. We let the good ones run once, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey Gary, I just want to thank you again so much for coming onto the show. If there's anything that you can leave our audience members with, if there's any like last little message, anything like that for them that you want to, just tell them, what would it be?
Well, strikes and gutters, but the dude abides. And that's how it be, man.
All right. Well, Gary, thank you, Gary, for coming onto the show. We really appreciate it. As far as the audience member goes, Gary, we're gonna probably get all your information as far as like these websites, your Facebook, everything like that. So if you enjoyed it, anything that you listened to, we're gonna have plenty of information to get you to Gary and to Dudeism. Awesome. Well, Gary, thank you for coming on the show.
No problem, man. Thanks.
Thanks again.
Yep. Thank you.